Dwight Howard. So obviously everyone knows what he did in Orlando, putting up crazy numbers, led them all the way to the conference finals.
The finals.
He left Orlando. We just never seen that Dwight ever again. Does that make him a system player?
Dwight Howard makes him like an unsystem player. Like that, I feel like he can't fit into any system. Like Orlando was his only time where he was really good.
That's where the difference is. Your definition of a system player and mine's are different. You see what I'm saying? Mine's a system player who I view as differently than you do. You view a system player as a guy who can go into any system and succeed. I view a system player as a guy who can only succeed in one system. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, Dwight Howard is a system player. When Stan Van Gundy sat there and catered to all of his needs in Orlando, Dwight Howard succeeded and was on his way to be one of the best centers of all time. I think we could all agree. He was the man. He was one of the best. I think where everything changes is when Dwight Howard gets traded to LA after his old prima donna acts, allows other things to bother him, and seemingly couldn't fit into a system that was ran through Steve Nash, who was constantly hurt, I'll give you that, but they also had Kobe Bryant on that team, right? I forgot who was coaching that team. Mike Brown. It was D'Antoni. D'Antoni's team, right?
Mike Brown and D'Antoni.
Mike Brown, D'Antoni, all the BS that they had going on there.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, my God.
He couldn't fit in. He put up good numbers. I'll give you that, because I think that's what you want to say, Ahmed. His 17 and 12. Yes, we all know it was decent, but not what we used to seeing from Dwight Howard. Okay, he goes to Orlando, and there's a very specific comment at the end of his. Houston. Harden said about Dwight Howard. Harden came out and said we couldn't get it together on the court. We and him couldn't fit in together. Meaning what? It was James Harden's team. So it means it was the system that Dwight Howard could not fit into, right? Because that team should have been a playoff team that's making deep runs. I'm talking not just one conference finals. I'm talking 3. I'm talking a team that could have went to the NBA championship. That team was talented. Yes, they were. They were good enough. But now he goes to Atlanta. When he seemingly becomes like a Clint Capella, a Chris Humphries, that type of player. A guy who averaged 12 points and 12 rebounds. He went from the next Bill Russell to just a role player. You're going to tell me that his fall in Orlando, you're going to make an excuse that it was corrupt in LA. And then you want to make an excuse that him and James Harden didn't fit together, which means he's a system player, but we'll let you slide there. Then he goes to Atlanta. He goes home, where Mike Budenholzer seems to have the answer to play Paul Millsap and Dwight up top and have them succeed. He averaged 12 points, and he averaged 12 rebounds. And I think they could have signed Chris Humphries for $5 million and saved a lot of time, money, and waste. Because Dwight Howard is not as good as he used to be. He is a system player.
Do you have anything else to say?
As far as the whole Orlando thing, like, do you think that was just him wanting to be a superstar? Like, and then when he went to LA, he's realized, like, okay, I got to defer to Kobe now.
The whole Orlando thing is Stan Van Gundy ran a system that incorporated his game, that was able for him to fit in, that was able for him that catered to him down in the post. Dwight Howard is not a new school type of guy. And Dwight Howard got pushed off the blocks a lot.
I mean, if you look at some guys like Dwight, like maybe his mindset is just like, dang, like if I can't be the man on this team, like I just don't care. Like maybe that was the case.
He's a system player. He couldn't fit in. He couldn't change his game to help out Kobe Bryant and Steve Nash and get a win there. He couldn't help them out. You know why he couldn't help them?
He had back injuries too. I don't know. I'm not trying to do the whole injury thing.
The biggest thing that came out of the Orlando trade for Dwight was Dwight Howard has an injured back and he could not get surgery during the summer. So that was the biggest thing of his numbers drop from, 20 and 12 to 17 and 12. Second, he had Kobe on his team, who was averaging 27 points a game.
Kobe hated him.
40-something minutes. Kobe was being an asshole, let's be honest, probably, because it's Kobe versus and Dwight is all we know. Even if I like him, he's pretty soft. He's soft. Dwight's soft. He's a soft player.
I want Dwight to go to the Knicks, low key.
Huh?
Just so you guys can talk about him, I want Dwight to go to the Knicks.
You don't want Dwight on your team at one point. You'd rather have Dwight than Amari Stoudemire. Shut up.
Hell no. Hell no.
Oh,
Hell no.
weird.
Hell no.
No,
No, wait. Change it how?
So-
I would never disrespect Stoudemire.
Let's imagine this. Let's imagine a world. LeBron James is not the number one option on any team he's not. Let's imagine
Can't see
that. Okay, nobody would have seen it when Dwight was in Orlando either. But it happened. If LeBron James were not a number one player, number one option on a team he was on, like he said he was going to be when he went to Miami and it was supposed to be Dwayne Wade's team, blah, 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 LeBron would not be averaging what he averages, which is 28, 8, and 8, right?
Because LeBron is not a system player. LeBron adapted his games to fit the talent of a Chris Bosh. To fit the talent.
Oh yeah, LeBron is the system. LeBron is just his own player.
He is the
LeBron
system.
is the system.
Team, when he went to LA, Kobe Bryant, there was no way. Until Kobe's 20th season, Kobe was the number one option. Kobe
You have
has
to
been the
understand
number
this.
one option for 13 seasons, and he hasn't stopped for those 13 seasons. Even when he was injured, he was the number one option. D'Angelo Russell could not carry a team. Kobe injured is the number one option. People don't realize they started to click towards the end of that year. If Kobe didn't get injured at the end against Golden State, I think it was like game 79, 78 or something like that, they had a really good chance of beating the Spurs. Steve Nash came back from injury that series. Dwight was starting to play really well. Kobe was still averaging 28 a game. It doesn't matter if he sucked. They could have knocked off the number 2 Spurs as a
Dwight
7th
checked
seed.
himself out. Dwight checked himself out of the last game.
Who does this? What's the point of being in the game at that point? Tell me. From the number one option to the number 2 option, and then he was the number 2 option again, and now he's arguably the number 3 option in Atlanta. How are you supposed to put up 20 and 10 every single game if you're not the number 1 option?
Because you're supposed to adjust your game. You're supposed to adjust your game.
Dennis Schroeder put like the number 2 option in Atlanta. They don't give him the ball down
superstar
low.
is supposed to adjust your game. If you are who you say you are,
He's not going to
right?
average 20 and 10.
You're
not supposed to be averaging 12 and 12. You ain't averaging 12 and 12.
Dwight Howard hasn't been the same for like 6-7 years. Like he's just not that guy anymore. That's all.
Dwight Howard
He's never going to be that guy.
He averaged 17 and 12 on an injured year.
You can give me all the excuses you want about this, about that. Bottom line is, I'm going to be honest with you, he couldn't adjust his game anywhere. He could not fit in. Did he fit in?
Some people,
yes
just
or no?
can't do it.
Yes or no? I want yes or no, no explanation. Did he fit in LA?
He was injured. But
yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, he did.
Yes or no?
At the end of the season, yes, he did. Then Kobe got hurt. I don't want to hear it.
Did he fit in Houston?
Even Steve Nash didn't even like it at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of did. He a little bit.
Did he fit in Atlanta?
He's fitting in now.
Barely.
Perfectly fine right
That's his
now.
home. Like, he barely fits in at home.
He's fitting in perfectly fine. Okay, hold up. Talking
Next.
about Dwight.
Next.
But Dwight's numbers being down. Hold up. Let's look at the usage rate. Dwight's highest usage rate was in 08-09, the year that they made the NBA Finals at 26.1. When he went to the Lake, okay, and his highest 2 seasons, 2011, 2012, those were his 2 highest usage rates. He went to the Lakers. It dropped by 4. Now he has a 22% usage rate. In the first 2 seasons in Houston, the 2 years that they really did well, right? He had a 24 usage rate and a 23.
That's
the
pretty
2016 season, he had an 18% usage rate. That's a 6-point drop. He's not a bum. That year, he still really averaged it last year.
Okay. So if he's not a system player, then who can I put him on a bad team? If I put Dwight Howard on a bad team,
they get worse. If you do that, they get worse. Because he's gonna think he wins the ball every time. And he's just gonna miss layups and miss passes. Like they get worse.
Hold up, please, Lord, please, hold up. Got a team. Pick the Knicks. Okay, got him. Got one team in the NBA. Put Dwight on it. Put Dwight Howard over 30% usage rate. Tell me what he does. Absolutely
Dwight Dwight's averaging 20 and 10 on that team.
You put him on a team like that, that might be the first team that loses 83 games in the season. Like, that would be a terrible
top
team.
5 in the line. That's what he takes them.
Dwight Howard is averaging. He can have a top 5 lottery pick. That's not his fault. You need 3 superstars in today's NBA. You need 2 to 3 superstars in today's NBA to do anything.
Good. So we admit that he's not one of them.